Good morning. My name is Stephen York, and wherever you are watching this sermon, we're glad that you have joined us by way of the internet. This message this morning is about getting through hard times, the crisis of work. And this morning we're going to talk about the story that Jesus is referring to Jesus in the Gospel of Luke, where a fisherman has fished all night and caught nothing. Thank you for joining us. The story in the Gospel is one that I think that this island can particularly relate to. It shows the humanity of Jesus and his concern for the fishing industry that was prevalent in his day. Now, Jesus was an unusual person in many ways, but I particularly like in this story his sensitivity to the fact that these fishermen had toiled all night and caught nothing. Now there are some who would take this text and then want to talk about the miraculous and what happened here so that the boats were swamped with fish. And if you're looking for me to give you that, that's at the Pentecostal church somewhere else. But the story captivates me because it shows that even in the toughest of times, Jesus in his ministry was concerned about the work that ordinary people did day to day. And that's a Jesus I can believe in. He was concerned. The King James language is interesting. It says literally they toiled all night and caught nothing. What is the responsibility as followers of Jesus that we have to, in his example and by his example, speak to the needs of those who struggle with employment? I cannot imagine what it would be like to fish and catch absolutely nothing. But I know that the economics of that for people on this island would be devastating. This island lives and breathes as a lobstering village. And I was heartened to see last week in the Island Advantages that our port was the largest in landing lobster and that we did really well. And that was good news for us. There were concerns before the season got going, would there be enough bait? Would people be able to get what they needed? But think about how important and how dependent we are on that livelihood. And if we did not have it, what a total disaster it would be for some and for most of the people who work and live here. The impact on the economy, the local economy. When people do not have jobs, I don't need to tell you, they don't spend money. When people have jobs and they have some security, it's easier to go and buy a new car. But when you don't have what you need, it becomes problematic. The story of Jesus speaking to Peter and saying, go on back out, is the message I think that we can follow as we begin to look at the economic development on this island and the local economy, as well as with keeping an eye on the national economy. There are writers like Wendell Berry who have done great work in helping us to understand just how important the local economy is, how interdependent that we are upon each other. We still experience this on this island. It's harder to be anonymous on this island. You can drive down 15 and you will see a sign here and there, benefit supper for so-and-so. A notice in the paper, so-and-so is a fisherman, no insurance, he's got cancer, we're going to have we're going to have a fundraiser. There'll be a 50-50 raffle. I've never been to one of those, but what the recipient winner of the 50-50 almost always, I think in my memory, gave whatever was won to the family in need. This is a place of generosity, and that's the spirit of Jesus. But how do we address the needs on this island beyond the lobstering industry? How do we diversify? How do we speak to the situation? The story from the New York Times captivated me. Here in Washington State is a woman with a master's degree in business, and she's 57, and she has put out application after application after application and taken online courses to improve her computer technology capabilities. She's done all of this stuff, and she cannot come up with a job. If that happened to you or to me, it would have a great impact. And I think the story of this gospel and the stories that we're reading in the newspaper begs the question, how do we respond? I recognize that we can't solve, as individuals, these huge economic problems. Officially, I heard in the last week or so, the recession is over. I heard on NPR this weekend that while the recession is over, unemployment is still high. This is not a political issue, folks. This is an issue of dollars and cents that have to deal with families who are under huge amounts of stress. And in the best of times, on this island particularly, most of us have to patchwork quilt things together in order to make living here possible year-round. And just one more regulation or one more difficulty coming down, top down somewhere from the bureaucracy in the fishing industry can often make the difference with how well a family member does with fishing. I understand this morning that it is a complex issue, but I also understand this morning that Jesus, by example, speaks to it. He's concerned so much that he said in the gospel, if you see someone who is hungry or thirsty or in prison, if you help them, it is though you have done it to me. Jesus puts high priority on the human response to needs.